Hey guys, so I'm just going to tease you a little bit with the new goodies that rolled in. This is the GT40 289 project, and we say GT40, that's the 1964. Hold on, I'll get the paperwork. Okay, 64 to 69. These are the ones that Ford spent a ton of money to beat Ferrari, which is American dream come true. I love it. Fantastic movie, Ford versus Ferrari. This is, of course, before they went to the 427, but they were doing a lot of damage with the 289s. 427 adds a lot of weight, and it's a very lightweight chassis. So this intake says Cobra, but it's the same intake as the old Shelby design. First thing I can see is, if you take a look at it, these runners are extremely short, whereas these runners are very long. Okay, very short, short, long. Same thing on the bottom. The intake is great. It's never been touched. It's a thing of beauty. Right? Long, short, short, long. Now, what's that going to do? Well, your short runners are going to peak at a higher RPM as far as torque versus the long runners. So it's going to flatten your torque curve considerably. Now, this is going to be road racing. Flat torque curve is a good thing, because you want to be able to pull through the gears. First thing I see with a plenum like this, remove those 4 holes. Well, I'm going to do a bunch of measuring on this before I touch it, but from experience, I'll tell you right now, the manifold's going to like it if you make that 2 ovals. Okay? And we also have to lay down exactly what RPM we're going to be in, and I'll be able to work it from that point on. As of right now, intake looks great. Let me grab one of the heads. You guys are in for a treat. Now, this is something I'm not used to working on. It's a raw casting. It looks like the guides were done. Everything else is up to me. Now, what's really cool about this is if you take a look at how this chamber is shaped, and you pay attention to the 289 castings I did for DV. They're on a couple of his videos. Very similar. Extremely similar. Okay, a little tough to see in there, but in reality, it doesn't look a lot different than like a 351 casting as far as that boss and so forth. Okay? I do have to check the guides, make sure they're good enough. If not, I'll put bronze wool in there. And it does have specific sized valves I have to cut these for. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's like a 1.87 and a 1.625. I may be off on a little bit. It is in the paperwork, and I will have to get that right. Okay, kind of cool. It looks much better than a stocker as far as the pinch. Are the push rod holes drilled? The push rod holes are drilled on these. It's actually a very clean casting as far as, I shouldn't say clean. I mean, it's got a rough surface, but the machining and so forth is absolutely beautiful. The customer said they come right from Ford. I don't know if this is an old casting or a new casting, but it's a nice piece. It's interesting to see. Looks like it's got a lot of slag inside our water core ports. I may have to do a little cleaning up on that if that doesn't break right out. Besides, I would like to clean them up because I don't like to leave any stress riser that could develop into a crack. These are going to be raced. So that was one of the conversations I had with the customer, and I agree with him. He said, I think they used the smaller valve size to give it better crack resistance. He's probably right. So I'm going to leave as much meat between the 2 valves as I can. We still have to get where we got to go, though. So we'll keep that in mind. Okay, it's got a quite tall exhaust port. I don't know if I have a stock E7. I think I do have a stock E7. Let me measure a stock E7. Okay, that's how much of a difference we have from a stock E7 as far as height. About 1/4 of an inch. And that's how much we have side to side. About 125, 150 thousandths. So I have no doubt that that exhaust port will tune up nicely. I don't see why we can't get at least 200 CFM out of them. They are not as big as these, my Ford high ports, but I'm not thrilled with the Ford high port design. It only goes a little over 200 CFM. We're going to see if we can beat that. May not be easy to see, but they put a nice short side on the intake port. That'll help. I'm surprised it has an exhaust crossover. The exhaust crossover, I'm not really sure why they did that. Maybe they had to. I don't know. Surprised to see it on a racing head, though. Okay, now you can see there's a huge difference. Take a look at how far over that port was moved to the right. Okay, they made it nice and fat. Now what I'm going to do to these is I'm just going to open it up with the highest valve job I can do, just to get one port we can see and see where we start from. And I'll probably do an IOP on where it sits with the absolute minimum work and work our way up. Okay, this will be an in-depth project, and I'm really looking forward to it. This is right up my alley. I can lose myself for days testing and figuring stuff out, but as I can see right here, this is a nice piece. You can see the way they did the push rods, right? Designed to the circles to put tubes in. Nice, real nice. It's a nice, very nice casting, and these should work pretty darn good. DV says my 289 head's made over 500 horse, so this should be way better. Those were stock 289 castings that we did up. Yeah, it's going to have the 289s we did. I did 2 sets for them. I did a 1.85 intake valve set and a 1.94 intake valve set. They both topped out the same, around 244 CFM. Can you get 500 horsepower out of that? I'll let you guess on that. In any case, I have a feeling these are going to do way better. Okay. I asked them to send along the carburetor. That way we can get air flows through the whole system. And he'll have a much better idea of what it will do when it's all bolted up. And he said, no problem, I'll send it to you. I have personally never seen a holley that had these fuel balls like this. All right, looks like a stepped, I'm not 100% sure what kind of booster that is. Looks like it's stepped below the Venturi. I don't know how many CFM it is, guys. I'm sure somebody could tell us if I could find the numbers on it. Okay, I can't read that. My new glasses are horrible. I'm sure there's plenty of guys that are carburetor wizards. Me, I'm not. I did fiddle with carbs plenty, but as soon as I could get into fuel injection, I was there. Okay, you can see that in the Ford tradition, the exhaust port is rectangular. I think they crack me up, these guys. And guess what? Even though that roof is shaped that way, don't kick that roof back, because that doesn't really help on these style ports. Okay, short side looks pretty good. Now, first thing I said when I saw a picture of these heads was I would love to braze those exhausts up a 1/2 inch. And as the heads pulled up by the UPS truck, the phone was ringing. How do those exhaust ports look? How do those exhaust ports look? I said, we'll find out when we get them together and get it working. If I can get that airflow to stick to that floor, it'll be happening. All right, guys. I think I showed you enough for one night. Just a teaser. 10.5 minutes. But really, really excited about this project. B43. It doesn't really say much on these heads at all. B43. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good night.